see here. Come on now. That's us. We are live.
Live.
Cool,
That's
cool.
it, coming.
Okay.
Sweet.
Let's get going. I'm gonna. Here we are. Okay, so today we got Dylan Scott on with my bro, obviously.
Oh, what's up?
And that's
Episode
us live.
5, is it? Episode 5 we're on.
Episode 5. 5 strong.
Nice. Getting there. Cool. That's like a small landmark, isn't it?
Let's make it that.
I'm going to try and steer the combo back to the conversation me and Dylan just had. We were getting a good laugh on the way through here. Just like, how long you been in Scotland now?
About 7 months now.
7 months,
Yeah.
man. Aye, so it's just like talking about all the differences in culture and stuff like that. You get a bit of a laugh. We were listening to that Billy Connolly song, you know, the Evil Scotsman.
Evil Scotsman.
Aye. And I'm just saying how true that kind of is, like talking about the...
And it's crazy, man, because like, especially coming from the US, like where everyone is, well, not everyone, just most of the time, like people are very sensitive.
Aye.
Very sensitive. And then like you're just walking down the street over here and it's just like, oh, all right.
People saying fuck you just for looking at them.
Yeah, it's like,
Called each other cunts.
yeah,
and stuff like that.
yeah, man. Yeah, that's
Just
crazy. That's the biggest transition. Is like, like especially here, man. It's like
Aye.
everyone's like, "Oh, you cunt." It's like,
Aye.
you go back home, it's like, "What the fuck did you just say?"
Man, I had it the other day actually. I was beating a guy at pool and he kept kind of saying, "Oh, you're a fucking dirty bastard," and that, because I was gubbing him. And I was like, you're going to call me that one more time and I'm going to punch your fucking head in, because unlike most people, like I don't like that pattern. I don't like like I'm different with that way, where I like to just say nice things to my friend. They say nice things to me. I don't really like do that thing where I call people names unless I mean it usually. So but the guy was just casually kind of dropping it, and it was in front of like friends of mine. I was just like, you're going to say that one more time and it's going to be bothered, you know what I mean? But I think he started to pick up on the look on my face and shut the fuck up. I was starting to piss me off. I was like, nah, I don't like that.
Yeah, and it just depends on who you are, I guess.
Aye, but it is pretty casual. People,
Yeah.
it's like I've seen quite a few things where it's one of the few places that cunts used as an affectionate term.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
he's
is,
a good cunt, him, man.
Yeah. And I couldn't go back home and do that. People just start looking at me and start just.
Aye.
It's like he's about to get his ass kicked by somebody.
This guy's got fucking some kind of illness, man. He's gone. What's that called again, man? When you're swearing at people randomly.
I think it's Tourette's.
Tourette's
It's some
syndrome.
form of Tourette's. Yeah.
Aye, that's right, man. One of my friends had that, man. It's quite funny.
Man, I did. Like, I had a friend that did that as well. Like, he looked like he was about to aggressively sneeze all the time.
Aye.
You know, it was terrible because I always made fun of him for it. But
Yeah, because you get, I think it's like a scale. You know, you get a scale. You get people that've got it really bad.
Right,
you get
right.
some people that have just got it mildly. But this dude had it fairly mild, and he didn't want anybody to know.
Yeah.
But his mum had told a friend of mine, so like we knew about it. You know.
you always looking.
Aye, and we were looking for it. And we're like, oh, look, there it is again. You know, he'd start talking about something, he just couldn't hold it, and he'd be like, you know, fucking MMA, fuck. He just shouted. It's fucking brutal. It must be horrible to live with. I played poker with a guy one time that fucking he had it, and honestly, like, it was the first time I thought, oh man, that's actually a horrible thing to have. Like, if everybody kind of laughs at it and thinks it's a funny kind of illness, but I sat with this dude and he was real normal. He'd done a bit of Muay Thai and stuff. Really nice guy, quite a handsome guy as well. He'd done a bit of acting, so some people maybe I'm talking about will know who it was. But he used to train with John Craig, SMTC. And he also played poker, so I met him at the poker table and I got chatting to him. He was a really nice guy, man. And then sure enough, there was a guy at the other end of the table who I'd raised basically, and the guy went right over the top, went all in, and I called him. I'd fucking pocket aces, so I was like, no problem, man. Aye, do you know what I mean? Called him, and I took him out. You know, I took him out, and as I took him out, the guy said, didn't respect your ace, fuck him. He just had to get it out, and I was like, that is fucking brilliant. I was trying to hold in my laughter, you know what I mean? I was like, didn't respect your ace, fuck him. But you'd see the guy, man. He's a good poker player too, so it's weird that he managed to hold it in. Or
yeah, it's like, because that would suck if you couldn't hold that in while you were playing.
Aye.
Start yelling out your cards. It's like, you lose again.
Yeah, definitely. You're just like, I've got fucking Kings. Jack King suited. Bye, man. We were laughing some bits of that song as well. It's like a bit of fucking casual racism about Germans and English and stuff like that. But like you probably remember when we were younger, like Dad being on holiday and it would be like the Germans. He would always be like fucking those fucking Germans up at 6 a.m. to put their fucking towels out and that. He'd fucking hate on them for it, and they would always be like, "I stay away from them," kind of thing, because still memories of the war and shit. Not that he was in the war, it was just his dad was in the war, so it's like,
it's like
his dad's told him.
Right.
Aye, man.
Like, I haven't run into a bunch of Germans since I've been in here, but just where I live, there's like 2 groups of homeless people. And
Yeah.
half of them are Scottish, the other half are Polish, and they hate each
Oh,
other.
really?
So it's really bizarre, man. It's like,
That sounds like the makings of a good show, man.
yeah, I know. And sometimes I like just look out my window and there's 2 of them fighting each other. It's like, you guys suck at fighting.
Ireland was the same. When I went to Ireland, man, there was like within the first 15 to 20 minutes, I walked past like 6 homeless people, and all of them had black eyes or burst faces, and I was like, what the fuck's going on here? And I put up a post saying, like, I remember Paul McVeigh had posted years ago about this thing called a good new idea for a fight show, Mad Mental Fighting Cunts Fighting Championships or something like that. And it was just like, get like homeless people and mad fucking Neds to fight each other all the time. Make some show like you can special weapons matches and stuff like that. A bottle of Bucky in one hand and a fucking a chib in the other hand.
It's gonna be like old school gladiator stuff.
Aye.
Start like rolling dice. What weapon do you get?
Just throw one in and the first to get it. It could make a good show though.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. Just start making pay-per-view
Aye.
for that.
We got on it. So I was saying to Dylan, like, when it comes to kind of culture, we're probably going to see something different. We're all going to Naga next week.
Oh, aye, cool.
I'm saying, like, it's completely blacked out in Naga. It's when you go down to Birmingham, I don't know if anybody's ever been to Birmingham, but it's basically like Birmingham Stan. It's pretty much all Pakistani people.
Oh, really?
Once you go down, aye. And I went to before with one of my Polish mates, and he was funny, man. Like, we're talking about Polish people are kind of casually racist. Like, they don't hide it whatsoever. We're walking about, and he just went, he says, he went, Craig, I could not live here. And I went, alright, how's that? And he just goes, too many packy for me. I was in fucking stitches with it, but
hell.
I was like, I know, it's pretty extreme, but if that's how they feel, that's how they feel. But
It's just being honest.
I seen no problem with it. Do you know what I mean? But that's what he said. And then we kind of got into America, and he was saying the Mexican people are quite racist over there.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Aye, towards
Yeah,
everybody else.
Just everybody else.
I mean, it just kind of depends on who you run into. It's like most of them are like really sweet, like great people.
Yeah.
They're really fun to hang out with.
Yeah.
But like you can find they're usually like the really old ones, and they just hate everyone. But man, it's kind of the same way with like if you find like old black dudes.
Yeah.
Aye.
Hate everyone.
Well, just for that era, eh? Where there was that,
that's really what it is,
segregation.
man. It's just like
Yeah.
hate everyone. Like the shit on black people, shit on Mexicans, white, like everything.
I found that
up.
quite funny with some of the Mexican people when I was over, because they're like, they feel like the impression I got anyway was they were a wee bit like racist towards black people, because they felt like black people kind of get treated a bit better than what they do. But more so probably in California, because a lot of people obviously it's close to the border and stuff like that. But I just find the whole dynamic quite funny. Like me, I like everybody. It doesn't bother me. But,
Aye, exactly.
Absolutely,
Aye,
It's a
I like
changing
people.
mentality.
I don't like every. Don't get me
generationally.
wrong. I don't like everybody. If a Mexican person's a cunt, I don't like them. If a black person's a cunt, I don't like them.
Yeah, it's
Do you
just
know what I mean? I like people for being people.
It's down to
It's
the
just-
individual.
Some people are fucking arseholes, and it's just
Yeah.
because they're arseholes.
Right.
I don't give a fuck if they're transgender or anything.
Yeah,
If you're an
yeah.
arsehole, you're an arsehole. Like
Yeah.
you don't get away with that. It's like sometimes you'll get the odd gay person that's like just think it's alright to like grab your girlfriend's tits or something like that. And you're like, nah, you still don't get to do that. Yeah.
Aye.
I'm gonna still knock your ass.
You still don't get to do that if you're gay or not. I mean, it might look bad if it turns into a struggle. Do you know? If I nail this gay guy and if he starts giving me a good fight.
What makes it okay? You know what
Aye.
I mean?
It's
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
It's like just don't be a dickhead, man. It's like you're not a dickhead. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Man, I remember there was this huge gay guy when we were out in Riverside. We were out in Riverside in California, and we went out, and this fucking huge gay guy got in an argument with this other guy, and the guy was quite small, man, and the huge fucking gay guy was going to give him problems for sure. And it was like, man, this is going to turn bad, and he was fiery, do you know what I mean? He was like, you motherfucker, you he was fucking going off on him, and the guy just fucking
killer.
man, the guy was in the back foot for sure. I would not have fancied my chances.
Start whispering in that guy's ears like, listen, man, it's like, you just need to run.
There's no win here.
Yeah, it's like, you're gonna get the fuck beat out of you.
Even this turns into a 50-50 fight, you've lost.
Yeah, it's like,
You gotta leave quick.
You're never living this in, man.
Yeah.
You're never living this in.
it's like, you gotta like beat his ass decisively. But
That's
it ain't
gotta be-
gonna happen, right?
It's not happening.
And see, for some guys, that's got to be pretty emasculating. Like, you know, not all guys, but some guys. You know what I mean?
You'd have to hit this fucking big dude with a shovel to take him
Oh,
out,
yeah,
man. This
man,
guy
it's
was like 6'5",
Yeah.
fucking big, man.
It's like, I mean, it's like, even if like, I mean, if you've done jujitsu long enough, like, you still have moments like that. I'll be on like some dude's back, just like rear naked choke, just in my mind, it's like, please go to sleep, please go to sleep, please go to sleep. It's like you're so tired of just like, oh my god, he's so
A
strong.
big fucking giant. It's weird when you get people like that, man. You know, they're just hugely strong, hugely strong. One of my friend's dads, he came down to train before, and he was a bit like that. His party piece was he could rip Yellow Pages in half.
Jesus.
You know, and when he first started jiu-jitsu,
The whole fucking yellow page.
the whole Yellow Page he could rip with his bare hand.
Jesus.
Aye.
Fucked up.
It was Jan, you know, Big Jan.
Oh, aye.
And when he started, and he was just freakishly strong. He had crazy grips and stuff when he started. So even like I had like 4 years of training at the time,
Aye.
but even then, you know, he was still a handful because he was just so freakishly strong. You
Aye.
know?
He's a big guy, man.
Aye. Aye.
And I've rolled with a bunch of dudes like that, especially like being from Oklahoma, where yeah, you know, there's just a bunch of farmers,
Yeah.
really like just old man farm strength, and they just grab onto your wrist and you're just
And that shit's real.
fucking trying to yank your hand out.
Just
What?
pull your arm out the
Off
socket.
me.
Aye, no, definitely,
Yeah.
man. Because I find that just with like guys that are tradesmen, like
Yeah,
guys that
yeah,
are joiners.
for sure.
I was teaching a few guys that just no long started. Well, actually, Brian Gilbert. Shout out to Brian Gilbert. But I was teaching him recently, and he'd no long done jiu-jitsu, and his grips automatically, like you thought he'd have done jiu-jitsu for fucking 5 years with the grip they had. And Callum Murray, like one of my good friends, he's the same way, just simply with just working on fucking tools all the years, and you know, manual labour and shit. So they end up with these crazy grips, man.
Like, it's so crazy, man. And
Aye.
even if you don't know jiu-jitsu, it's amazing how much a good grip can help you out.
Yeah.
You know, because like you just negate fucking anything,
Aye.
whatever you can do. You know, It's like,
And it's like, I've found it more and more in competition when I grip people.
Yeah.
Like the last match I had against a black belt dude was at one of the Scottish grappling comps, and he came for like Jersey or Portugal or something like that. It was somewhere. He was foreign anyway, man. He was a Brazilian enemy, but he'd moved to wherever and then came from there. But I noticed right at the start, like I gripped his wrist,
yeah,
and he tried to pull it back,
and he couldn't.
and he couldn't pull it back, and I gave him a wee smile, and my confidence just grew, and he was like, oh, here we go, you know.
And that's how I feel with like wrestling. It's just, man, it's like once I grab onto something, if I can feel you can't get it back,
Aye.
it's like, oh, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Aye, that's a weird thing with some wrestlers, man, when
Yeah.
they just fucking power through everything.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
like, oh,
man.
these guys.
Man, my wrestling coach was like that. Like, he'd come in, like, I remember the first day he came in, I was probably like a purple belt. It was like, all right, this new guy's coming in. And in the back of my mind, it's like, I'm probably gonna just beat him up.
Aye.
Just fucking blew through me. And I was like, he was a Division I wrestler.
Yeah.
And like, didn't know jiu-jitsu at all, but he was so fucking strong. Like, you could get him in a triangle and he'd just explode out. And it's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck, man?
Man, see, until you've felt that, like, especially if the guy's bigger,
Yeah, absolutely.
then it's like there's just nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You know, I've shout out to Kieran Malone, but like I've done some grappling with Kieran Malone when you know, when he's sitting a few even anyway, it doesn't matter even if he's sitting the same weight as you, but if he gets you in any position on top, you're not getting him back off you.
Yeah.
Ever. I remember one time he had me in turtle and I tried to do like a Granby roll and I about broke my neck because he just I tried to roll through and he just shifted his weight. No, you're not rolling anywhere. You know, and my neck went I was like, what the fuck, man? It was honestly agony for about 6 months, like, but like if you get one of those wrestler guys that have just done it their full days, it's, and probably the first time I've ever competed against a wrestler was at the Worlds, and the guy was just almost pure wrestling. I don't think his jiu-jitsu was up to much. He couldn't pass my guard. He couldn't do anything. I managed to sprawl his like first 4 or 5 attempts, but then he just it was like a minute to go, and he just thought, right, fucking game on. But even when I was catching like stuff off it, he was managing to power through it. And I should have really just took his back and scored the points, but I just kept getting advantages for submission attempts and sprawling his takedowns. But then it was like a minute to go, and he managed to blast me, and that was for the bronze at the World. So I was fucking scunnered. I should have just pulled guard on him or something. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's hindsight, though, man. You know, hindsight's always something to look back at.
Probably no clever doing your first IBJJF comp at the Worlds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, always pull guard.
That's it, man.
But I mean, like with that, man, it's like, I think with wrestlers, there's just a certain mindset that's kind of bred into them as well. You know, and just from what I've seen, it's just like they're bred to just keep going.
Yeah.
Like they are just the epitome. It's like, yeah, fuck you, I'm gonna beat you. And
yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if you've just beaten the fuck out of them for like 5 minutes. In their mind, they have zero doubt that they're still gonna win.
And you see how tired everybody gets. Like I notice with jiu-jitsu guys, if I've been like, I could have some guys that are like purple belts, really good guys, and if it's wrestling practice, it's just totally different. Everybody gets tired really quickly. You know, everybody gets so much more tired really quickly, and it's trying to get people into that early where lifting bodies is just the norm. You know what I mean? Right. You need to get everybody. So I do that as part of my drilling, just to get everybody in a position where they're lifting bodies every day they're in class or picking up humans. You know, because that's where people. Because at first, I remember when like I never used to do that. You know, mine was judo, so it was more throwing bodies and leveraging trips and stuff like that, which that tied into my game quite a bit, and balance and stuff. But just that blasting through people and just lifting and posture, straight back, all that kind of shit. And you know, I'm by no means the best at it, but I just think it's really worthwhile introducing that early on, and when people start training.
Man, absolutely, for sure, man. Because I find a lot of people have a hard time just like with shots, and then from the shot being able to lift up, you know, because like they'll just get stuffed, or they'll just be like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, where to go for there.
Yeah, it's like just keep driving, and it's gonna be very easy to lift them up from there.
Yeah.
So.
Actually, you see a lot of guys that do the chain wrestling stuff, and like they'll shoot, but then they'll shoot and then they'll go for another like a reshot off of that, and chain off to like a single leg. And you see it with the cage stuff more. People are better at it on the cage, I think. But when it comes to the open mat, it's quite difficult for a lot of guys.
I mean, like chain wrestling with open mat, I think, like it's still very applicable. You just have to change it up a little bit. Like a lot of like the most success I come off with from a takedown is just like if I stuff somebody's shot first and then immediately shoot in. Yeah. And then once I've shot in, there's like usually at least like 3 to 4 options you can hit from there. Yeah. You get a single leg, you know, they do a really good job of like just stuffing that, just transitioning to a double leg, coming up to the back.
Aye.
You know, so
I've seen a lot of that guys coming out to the back quite a lot.
So it's more of like a chain wrestling from a position that you're already in. You know, you can't be like, you know, it's very difficult to do it from an open position when you just start shooting in, because now they've got plenty of space to just move, and then it's like, fuck, okay. You know, we're standing back up, trying to do this shit again. So, I mean, once you get in the position, it's much easier to go from there, you know.
And there is some guys coming through in Scotland that's getting there with wrestling. It's good to... there's a few guys I've trained with that are pretty decent. It's pretty much everybody comes off Kieran Malone, but it's definitely something that we struggled with a lot when we first started, or when MMA started becoming popular here, because there's nobody that really...
Yeah, man, it was just so weird, because like really the rest of the world wrestles. Like it's only like Western Europe, like, you know, France is huge in judo, UK is pretty good in judo. I don't know about Spain. They might be, but you start moving towards the east, like wrestling's huge. Russia, Poland, Hungary. Like Hungary just hosted the wrestling world championships last year. And then the US, very big wrestling culture as well. Yeah, you know, surprisingly,
Russia and stuff is huge.
Japan's technically actually ranked number 2 in the world right now, which was really surprising. But yeah, it's just like this little part of the world is like, yeah, we're gonna do judo. It's like, all right, man.
I know, it's
whatever.
Quite surprising. Yeah, it's like, and it's definitely good. It would be cool if they had more of stuff like that in schools. You know, they don't have enough of that kind of thing in schools. Man, we don't have any in contact in schools, really, man.
It's huge in schools in America, isn't it? Wrestling,
definitely. There's kids programs everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Is there anything here? I mean, you'll know more than me, but is there anything?
There's a lot of judo for kids. Yeah. A lot of taekwondo for kids. Some good boxing programs starting for kids. We always tend to, and there's some good Muay Thai, but when it comes to grappling, I suppose jiu-jitsu's starting to get more popular for kids as well.
Yeah.
But still, not really many wrestling programs at all. Oh, there is actually. There's one that does like young kids in Tillabuddy actually.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's they've produced quite a few people that like Commonwealth level guys and stuff. So,
Yeah.
but it doesn't get the publicity it deserves, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
Aye.
not got a huge community, I take it, in
Aye.
Scotland. The UK, I don't know, you know.
Yeah, I guess it's one of the things if you're in it, but they could definitely be. It would be better for growing, you know, because I personally would never want to put my kids into something that had striking,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, especially coming up, man. It's like
Yeah.
getting just
Yeah.
repeatedly punched in the head.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be getting punched in the head until you're like over 16.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of
Brains
people
to develop, you know.
well, in like Muay Thai in Thailand, you know, we've got guys fighting
Well,
like
they
full
start,
rules
like,
at
yeah,
9,
like-
10 years old fighting
Yeah.
full elbows.
Yeah.
Full elbows and knees, you know, A-class rules.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
mate.
I've seen like somewhere like they're just like 7-year-old kids. It's like, Jesus, man. Like, what
Aye,
are you guys doing?
vicious.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because like when I had a video when I went out, I think it was 2012 or something, I went out to Thailand and we went to Lumpini to watch fights, and there was 2 kids fighting. Like they couldn't have been much more than like 10, 11-year-old. I mean, their skill level was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But like these kids were getting wrapped body kicks, wrapped
Yeah,
elbows and stuff like that, and their face did not change. You know, it was
Yeah.
just like nothing. You know,
Just
because in,
taking
in Thai it's all about no showing pain, no showing movement, body
Aye.
displacement, and stuff like that.
Poker face shit.
Yeah, like just proper poker face, nothing. You know.
But I mean, I guess like then again, like if you love doing it, then fuck it, you know.
Aye.
Like if
I
that's what
suppose,
you want
man.
to do for the rest of your life, like
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
go do
You've
it.
made the
for it.
choice, haven't
yeah,
you?
it's like
Yeah.
you know, I think so many people get wrapped up just doing shit that they don't want to do, and then you know they see people like us doing jujitsu. Like I had my arm broken and won a competition like a couple years ago, and they're
Yeah,
like,
shit.
"So are you gonna compete again?" It's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's my favorite. It's my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah. You know, and they think I'm crazy when they're like working a 9-to-5 job and like they fucking hate their life, and it's like, you know,
Yeah.
whatever, man. Like go
Yeah.
do what you want to do. I enjoy what I do, and you
Yeah,
know,
that's
leave me
it.
alone.
I think it's getting past that first year. I think.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
see that first year's always hard. You know,
Yeah.
and you're constantly getting your ass kicked. So
Yeah.
it's probably it's good and it's not good. You know, it's good if you can deal with that, but a lot of people can't deal with that. But I feel like once you start getting to a year, 2 years, and stuff like that, it becomes like your therapy. Like
Yeah,
if-
absolutely.
For me, if I've had anything bad happen in my life, anything bad whatsoever, bad day at work, anything, if I go to jiu-jitsu, by the end of the time I've done my class, if I go and teach my class, if I go and train after it, by the
Yeah.
time I'm done with that, I feel much better.
Massive vent.
Yeah,
Aye.
man. Because I mean, like you're usually with people you enjoy being with.
Yeah.
And if you're training at a gym that you don't like the people, you should probably change gyms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I feel like jiu-jitsu and MMA, it kind of mostly weeds out arseholes,
Yeah,
you know.
mostly.
Mostly, yeah.
There's still stuff.
There's still a few. You sit about, let's say 95% of
yeah,
the
yeah, I'll
arseholes.
agree with that. Yeah.
But yeah, it's mostly good people. Like I ended up. I mean, it was a bad occasion, but we were at a funeral for young Jai Jai just on Friday, and all the boys for training came. Like the guys that I've kind of taught from scratch, and it was my first time I've been on a night out with them all. But we all had fucking an amazing time.
Yeah.
Even though it be a sad day, we all ended up like going out. They all drunk. I don't drink, but
Yeah,
we sung karaoke. We done stuff, and we all, that was our first time out together, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So it was cool to get to know everybody, and there was nobody was like being an arsehole, you know.
Right,
everybody was spot on.
Yeah.
So it's just it's like fucking hell, you've all got that stuff in common, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody enjoys it, everybody's watching the same sport, and I suppose that's one of the main things for friends, is that you've got stuff in common. And
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, especially like when you're training together, I think there's just a certain amount of respect that you have for your training partners, because
Yeah.
there's no other situation in life where you're going to learn as much about someone except when you're actually fighting them.
Yeah.
You know, because like you can talk shit as much as you want. Like once we're
Aye.
done, you know, it's like we're gonna figure out how good you
Ah,
are.
yes.
You know, like even if you're not good, but like you put up a good scrap, is like
You still respect the
like
person.
there's a lot of respect for that, man. Because like even like when shit gets bad, is like you're not the one that's just gonna crumple and then
Yeah.
tap out 500 times just because like you're uncomfortable. Like
Yeah.
you're just gonna try to push through it, and like there's a lot of respect that goes with that. You
Yeah.
know, like just 'cause like this is like fuck, this guy's a tough bastard.
That's
You know?
it, man. That's actually my favourite thing about jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
because you can get somebody that maybe in any other form of life you wouldn't get to see that side of them.
Right.
You know, I always use one of my students, Evan, as an example. Young Evan, like to look at, he's like as thin as you can be,
Yeah, yeah.
and You know, he's really quite a pleasant looking guy. You know, he looks really friendly, but he fucking loves to choke people.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
he loves to
man.
choke people, and you know, as a newbie, even if you do love to choke people, it still sucks because usually you're not getting a chance. So he just got good really quick so that he could be the guy doing the choking. And it's brilliant as an example when I get bigger guys come in the gym and stuff like that, because Evan's maybe been training about a year now or something, coming up a year. And you know, if a big muscly guy comes into the gym who would just look at Evan and think, they would think, no, I'm going to smash that guy. Right. Sometimes you'll even pick him out thinking this is going to be an easy target. You know, who will I roll with first? I don't want to look too bad. they pick Evan. Evan's sitting there with a wee smile, and he just fucking chokes him out like 5-6 times. You know what I mean? And he's just like,
actually turns out worse for them.
It ends up worse for them because they've picked that guy, you know. And that happens all through, you know. Sometimes you look at a guy and you think, oh, fucking the most dangerous guy there, you just don't know.
Yeah, man. No, that's what I love about it too, man, because I mean, I'm 5'4", like I'm not tall at all. So, but you know, it turns out
I can still kick most people's ass.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, it's a good feeling to have. I mean,
yeah,
definitely gives you a lot more confidence.
Evens it up for sure, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's
definitely.
Like, you know, especially if you're just like out in the pubs, like, hey man, I want to pick a fight with you. It's
like,
no, the fuck you do not.
Just have another wee look at my ears, a wee bit closer.
It's like 1 or 2 reasons why I've got ears like these. I play rugby or I fight, both of which you don't want to deal with. Crazy.
And who was it was saying that to me the other day? Because I don't think I look like a fighter really. I've got the wee side shed haircut and stuff like that, and I quite pride myself on that, to be honest. I'd rather not look like a fighter than look like one most of the time. But one of my students, Jimmy, is a good guy. He was saying to me, he says, "Mop, when I first met you, I thought, this guy doesn't look like the sort of guy I have to worry about fighting. He looks like the sort of guy I have to worry about shagging my bird." And I was like, fair play. He's like, man, it turns out you can do a bit.
But you can get like the best of both worlds, because you can fight him and then shag his bird.
Turns out it's both.
There's nothing you can do about that.
Well, man. I feel like I was going to go somewhere else with that there. What were we talking about? Rugby. We're in rugby. We're talking about... I always lose my chain of thought so much, man. It's real bad.
It's all good, man. But yeah, it's kind of. But going back to your point, just like how you look, like always before a tournament, I always like dressing very strangely. Yeah. Like I'll just wear like a flannel shirt and maybe sweatpants. It's like, you don't look like a guy who's about to go fight someone. It's like, that's the point.
Yeah.
But that's why, you know, that's kind of the downside about the ears as well, because you can't hide the ears.
It gives it away.
You know.
That's actually what I was going to go on to, man. I had that just recently in Stirling.
Yeah.
I was out with Callum, right, and Callum he'd had his arm operated on.
Murray.
So, Callum Murray. So he had his arm operated on, and like, I pride myself on not getting into fights and not reacting to stuff, right? Trying to diffuse situations without being a dickhead. You should never learn martial arts and be good at fighting to beat people up that don't know how to fight, you know. And that's something I'm always quite strict on, especially with myself and my students. But so this situation, this guy's barged right into Callum, like knocked him flying out the way when he wasn't looking. Like he's had his back turned, and the guy's basically barged into him and fucking knocked his arm. He's just had his arm operated on. It was in a sling, you know. And I just went, "Well, watch where the fuck you're going, man." And the boys turned around and went, "You want to fucking go?" A wee young guy. So this is the entrance to the foo bar. You're like in the wee bit just where you pay. And the guy just started walking towards me like he was going to fucking crack me, you know. So I'm not letting him pass striking distance ever. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he's got it within striking distance, and he's walking towards me to try and hit me. But obviously, I know distance a lot better than what he does. So I've hit him an open-handed slap, you know, and just on purpose. Just not to knock him out, because I thought I could knock him out.
Right.
But I don't want to knock him out, because like then you're probably going to have to deal with charges and might break his jaw or something like that. But so I've just hit him an open-handed slap, and I'm always sober, so I'm always trying to think quite logically about what I do. So I've just hit him an open-handed slap as he's walked towards us, and he's dropped, you know. So he's actually dropped with a slap.
He's out.
And the bouncers went like, "Well, what the fuck are you doing?" You know. And I went, "Whoa, what the fuck are you doing? You're a bouncer and you weren't stopping him from coming towards me." I said, "You got within striking distance. I'm well within my rights." I said, "That wasn't an assault. That was an open-handed slap to warn him, to let him know not to come any further." I said, "If I wanted to, I could have knocked him out." And the bouncer started blah, blah, blah. I said, "Listen," and he put his hands on me. I said, "Listen, mate, take your fucking hands off me or you're going to have a really bad day." And he just went fucking... So the bouncer started, "Oh, you can't just slap people." I said, "Look, if it was either I slapped him or he hit me,
Yeah.
You know, the other option was I knocked him out. So you choose. You know, I'm not.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not going to be me that's getting hit. That's how it goes. He's like, oh, can I speak to you outside? Well, I said, well, I'm going out to take out some money anyway. So it doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm going out anyway. So me and Callum walked out, went to get some money, and then as to get out, like I came back, and the guy said, no, you can't get back in here. I says, listen, mate, I know the law. I've done bouncing myself.
Yeah.
I was completely within my rights to defend myself there. And then this big fucking fat bouncer man on the side, he's just one of the guys that's just big, so thought he was tough. He started mouthing, oh, well, you think you're fucking hard because you were bouncing, mate? You think you're fucking hard because you were bouncing, mate? And I turned around and went, no, mate, that's the least of what I do. I said, I don't think I'm tough because I'm a bouncer. I said, I've rarely met any bouncers that are hard, to be honest.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, fucking, and he started just properly disrespecting me, talking shit to me. And I've turned around and he was a big dude, and I was just like, I'm going to have to knock fuck at this guy if he keeps talking to me like this, do you know what I mean? And then he's like, blah, blah, blah. And then he's noticed my cauliflower ears, and he's went, oh, you think you fucking hard? You've done a bit of martial arts, you've got a cauliflower ears. And you could just see his head kind of ticking, thinking, fuck, his ears are fucked up. He's obviously done a wee bit more than a little martial arts. So I just properly lost the plot. Well, I just
The radio just goes, just by chance.
But basically I just said, take your badge off, we'll go for a walk if you want to see who's hard, you know.
Yeah.
And the guy shat it, you know, he just, no, I went, well, that'll do it.
Yeah. You can always tell, like, just from like how the conversation, because it usually goes very fast, like the insults. Then you start realizing how calm you are about what's about to happen. It's like,
that's what I said. I said, look, you're not dealing with a drunk guy here, mate.
Yeah.
I said, I'm 100% sober. I don't drink alcohol, so we can take a walk right now and I'll punch your fucking head in. And the guy was just like, oh fuck. I mean, he's still trying to put on a brave face, but his mate's radioing for everybody. The other guy was like trembling. The other guy actually knew me, you know, so he was like, oh, fucking, just radioing for his mate. I was like, fuck these guys, man. But I don't like to get like that. But sometimes when people probably disrespecting you, it's hard not to lose your temper, you know.
And especially with bouncers too, man, because like they're usually just big dudes.
Aye.
And like I haven't had a lot of encounters with weird bouncers, but I've only had one, and he was a big dude.
Yeah.
It's like, just in the back of my mind, it's like, man, you're gonna gas out, and I'm gonna choke you unconscious.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's like, you're fat as fuck, and like, you're gonna get fucked up.
And I've had a lot of encounters with bouncers, you know, over the years, and it was probably the main reason I stopped drinking was bouncers. I got in a fight with 3 bouncers in Stirling when it was totally my fault that, you know, I was due to get thrown out. But bottom line was we end up kicking, me and my 2 friends ended up beating the shit out of the bouncers, and before I learned martial arts, it was long before I even started martial arts. I was just a wee drunk guy, hanging about with 2 guys that were like older than me and were quite tough. So yeah, we ended up fucking wiping out the full bouncer staff, and I nearly got to jail for it. So I was like, I need to stop drinking, you know. And that was one of the main events that made me stop drinking alcohol. It's like,
it's like, it's kind of crazy too, man. It's like, even if you don't know how to fight, if you're just tough, you're gonna beat most people.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's just what martial arts does for you. It's like, all right, you just got kicked in the face. How are you gonna react to that?
Yeah, because all those dudes were big dudes.
Yeah.
And there was like, you know, there was about 4, and there was only 3 years.
Yeah.
And when it was, the guy just basically tried to attack me, and I said, well, I'm not having you do that. Like, I would have walked out myself. You know, I would have walked out happily, but he started putting his hands on me. So we got in a fight. We rolled through the cloakroom door. We ended up in the cloakroom, and I was beating the shit out of him in the cloakroom. He was a big, huge guy, but then all the other bouncers came running into the cloakroom, locked the door, and they were kicking fuck at me, like they were trying to kill me. You know, they were jumping on my head, like they locked the door, they were jumping on my head, kicking my ribs in. And so I thought, man, when I get up, I'm going to fucking kill you. But then my 2 friends seen through the cloakroom door, they kicked the door in, and then we ended up beating the shit out of all of them. You know,
so that's like a fucking movie.
Yeah, I know. It's boom.
But like, I probably went a wee bit too far on the guy that initially done it, you know. So he could, but it's just like, well, wait a minute, you were quite happy about no police being involved when the 4 of you were beating the shit out of me by myself. But when the 3 of us beat the shit out of the 4 of you, it suddenly became a big case for the police and the CID. You know, I got arrested for my work on the Monday, you know. So it was like, all right, that's how it goes. That's how it goes. You're happy 4 on 1 to beat them. So it just shows their character, you know.
Yeah, man. Like, I read this quote one time, and just by Navy SEALs, like, you know, it's like a lot of Navy SEALs get in bar fights, and like they're always told the same thing. It's like, hit them hard, hit them fast, and then get the fuck out. You know?
That'll win you a lot of fucking street fights, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's like, You know, if you can knock someone out, lay them out like really quickly, and then just leave before the cops show up, then
Yeah.
it's like,
You're probably going to
Well.
be alright. Well, that was it. We left that night. We done a bunk that night, and we managed to get picked up and stuff and got away, but unfortunately there was camera footage.
yeah, man, that's also like something I find bizarre here is like everything is surveillance.
Yeah.
You know, where like if I go back home, you know, if you're gone before the cops show up, pretty good chance you're gonna be fine.
That would be so much better.
Yeah,
That'd be so
it's
much better.
You know, it's like there's cameras like at stoplights, but that's about it.
Yeah.
You know, like unless like the place is surveillance in the bar, but I mean, there's so many people at the bars most of the time where like, good fucking luck.
Yeah.
You know?
Let's jump on it a wee. We've got about 15 minutes left before we're going to wrap. So, if we jump on a wee bit about your jiu-jitsu journey, man, just kind of where you started and where you're at now, sort of thing. And
man, I started when I was about like 15 years old. Like growing up, I always was in martial arts, did karate, did taekwondo for like several years, but wasn't a big fan. You know, I got picked on a lot like as a kid, and that kind of like steered that. And you know, there's some family issues growing up as well. My mom got deployed for a while. My dad got really invested in work, so like for a good like probably like a year or so, I got like me and my sister got bounced around to like different people just taking care of us. You know, being like a 9-year-old kid, you don't really understand what's going on. You know, all you see is like, you know, like your parents are gone. And so that was kind of strange, and I think that kind of like built up a lot of anger. And so I was always kind of like looking for an outlet. And then I think by the time I was like 14, I started lifting and working with this just big roided up guy.
like, why can I not lift the same amount as him?
You know, like, and he was a big dude, but he was just like one of those dudes who could watch something and like get pretty good and like actually do it. And on top of like him just being roided up, like if he went for like an arm bar, he was gonna get it. You know, like. So I would just like spar with him in just this like carpeted area. And
that sounds terrible, man.
It was, man. Yeah, like I would just get my ass kicked for like an hour and like come out of there with like carpet burns on my face. And if my buddy Mike listens to this, he'll know what the fuck I'm talking about, because that's how I met him. But yeah, he just told me about the guy I started training with, Christian Durr, back in the day. And then he just started out a jiu-jitsu gym in like a small ass garage, and he was like, hey man, you should go check this guy out. So yeah, I went over there, got my ass beat, but then I was like, maybe there's something to this. You know, and then I just kept coming back. And I mean, granted, like I was still a young kid, and like I didn't want to lose. So like I would never tap. I fucking hated to tap, you know? And definitely injured myself more times than I should have.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, you know, it's like, you know, you're still young, you're stupid. You know, so like I wish I knew what I know now as I did back then. I'd probably be way better than I am right now.
I said that yesterday in a class. I was covering a class for somebody, and they were like, oh, you're going to stretch. I was like, you guys stretch. I'm not going to stretch. It's too late for me.
Yeah, man.
I'm done.
Like, you guys stretch. Like, I bought a foam roller yesterday, and I was like, God, like I've been doing this for 10 years, and like my body feels so old.
Yes.
And like I'm only 24, but like I wake up and it's just like, oh my God, my back hurts, my neck hurts.
It's definitely tough on your body.
Yeah, man. So but yeah, like anyway, continued that, competed quite a bit, you know, and just like I always had like such a weird mindset. Like I always believed that I was better than people that would beat me, but I never tried hard enough to actually beat them. So like I just always convinced myself that I was better, and it's like, oh, if I tried harder, like I was that guy. Like those really annoying guys that if you beat them and they're just like, oh, I think I could have gotten out of that submission. Like, you know, it's like I fucking hate those guys. You know, so like just accept that you lost. Like take ownership. Like you made the mistake. You know, and it took me, and it probably that didn't change until probably like 2 years ago. I don't know why. You know, it's like I think it was the first time I'd competed with a company called Fight to Win. Ended up winning that match in 23 seconds by heel hook.
Class,
man. And I was like, shit, maybe I'm actually pretty good at this.
Man, that's an amazing show as well.
Yeah, man. Fight to Win is hands down the best show I've ever competed for. Like very well organized. Like they'll give you a little message that tells you what time you're going off of, and they were maybe like 3 minutes off. You know, like
That's class.
Yeah, man. Like compared to like
Most
a lot of,
jiu-jitsu shows,
most jiu-jitsu shows where like, all right, you're gonna like your division starts at 2.
It jumps forward to
it's
12.
like, it jumps forward to 12. It's like you don't go until like 4. It's like, did I miss it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, for example, like I was in Leeds competing, and you know, they were supposed to go, I think like at 1, and like 1:30 hit, and I started asking people, it's like, hey man, like when's this division going? And they're like, oh, I think it already happened. I was like, what? I just come down from Edinburgh to Leeds.
It better not have happened.
Yeah, it's like, it better not have fucking happened, man. You guys be paying me something, you know. But luckily it didn't happen. But you know, but it was like 2 hours late.
Yeah, I've seen that happen on the the apps and stuff sometimes, where like you're meant to go on at like 3, and then sometimes it jumps to 5, and you're like, why is it jump to 5? Like,
man.
And then the opposite happens sometimes. You're like, oh, I've got 2 hours to chill, and you just went and had a sandwich, and you're like, oh fuck, and then it jumps back to 3, and you're like, it says you're going to be on at 5, and then it's like, oh, you're going to be on in 10 minutes. Okay.
Sounds fucking confusing.
It's hard to get prepared,
Yeah, it is hard to get prepared, and like there's definitely a big mental aspect to it too, So, if you're one of those people who need the time to mentally prepare yourself to go just wreck somebody, you need that time, man. That couple hours might be the necessary time that you need. Yeah. Like my coach is like that. Like he won't compete and coach in the same day because he's kind of an asshole when he's competing.
Yeah. I get that. Sometimes you just need to be a bit selfish,
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, like it's hard to separate the two because like you really want to focus on your teammates or your guys that you're training, but then it's like you also want to set an example for them as well. So like you need to be in the right mindset to compete, but when like you have like a split of your mind going into the competition because you're coaching, and it's difficult, man.
Mindset can be a big difference maker as well, for sure.
Absolutely.
I've found that in the competitions that have meant a lot to me. I've had to get my mind right, especially beforehand, and it doesn't always necessarily, I see people do a lot of warm-ups, and that's cool as well if that's what gets you in the right mindset, but for me it's just actually just being in the right mindset. Like I just like to be myself on that day. Like, and I've started to get better and better at that the more that times went on. Just being myself. So whether it means singing fucking songs, whether it means like doing a Spider-Man pose, pretending I'm Spider-Man, shit like that makes me feel more character. I'm expressing myself. I always play better when I'm expressing myself.
Man, I get that for sure, man. Like that's definitely something I've had to work on as well, and it's really developed since I've been here. Because like once I moved up here, it's like it's just me. Like, all my family's over in the U.S. somewheres, where it's like I can't rely on anybody else.
You've got to be yourself.
It's like and then like the first match with you, which went not great for me, but it was like I kind of had a game plan. It was like I was gonna try to wrestle with you. And for me, like actually just shooting a shot from the feet was a big step for me because so many competitions I've always like too timid or like too afraid to shoot. Just in fear of like getting stuffed and like getting guillotined right off the bat. But then it was just like, oh shit, okay, I shot in. I mean, I got stuffed, but like nothing horrible happened.
It's not the end of the world.
Exactly. So that was a big thing. And then the next competition, it got even better. I took everybody I competed against down. So like ended up not winning and doing as well as I thought I should have in the Leeds competition. And then
still positives to take for it.
Still a lot of positives.
And even if I think back to like our match, like you could probably came off on it a single up to the back because you had a bit of an angle, I think, on the single leg. So
like, and I was actually really prepared for that because I remember like scouting that guy out and seeing that he actually does shoot in for takedowns, and I was like, fucking yes, thank God, because I know he's not gonna out wrestle me. And then he was he was practicing shooting in the warm up area, which was, man, that was kind of funny too, because like I went up there, I think it was like right when your match ended, like your first match ended, I went up to start warming up for that one, and then this guy came in. It's like, all right, so you guys are right after this one, and then he left, came back maybe 2 minutes later. It's like, okay, that match is over. I was like, fuck, okay. So I mean, and that's exactly what he did, man. Came in, shot in, stuffed that one, and right when he decided that he couldn't take me down, started to pull guard.
I seen that match, man. That was a really good match. It was back and forth and fucking it was cool.
It was a good match, and he did a really good job of just hiding his heel, which was so fucking frustrating. But I think by the time they said there was a minute left, he realized that he was probably
behind.
Yeah, behind, and then he just started going for it.
Yeah.
Gave me an opening to take his leg and finish him the right way.
Got it. Aye.
You know,
Nice.
so
It's
like,
class.
you know, I'd have been happy to take the win, but
Yeah.
you know, it's always much better when you can get the finish.
It's good to get the finish. That's the one thing
Yeah.
I've realised for jiu-jitsu though. But if you dominate somebody, it's still
Right, right.
it's still good. If it's it's close, it can be annoying. But if you've been trying to finish the guy for the full 10 minutes,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
it's all good.
Yeah, you know, then it's like finally.
It's getting the balance right.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, for sure, man. But
So
yeah.
next up's Naga.
Yep. Next up's Naga, and so April 13th.
It's gonna be fun, man.
Yeah, yeah.
1 week. Yeah. Hopefully, 1 week today we'll come back up with some belts.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's 5 of us are going down, right?
yeah. Quite a few people going down for it, man.
Who's all going down?
Me, Gaz,
Barry.
Charlie, Barry,
Mhm.
and I think there's just some other people meeting us there. David Galbraith and stuff's going down,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure, but I'm sure, or I'd heard a few of the guys for the grip were going to go down to it. I actually just seen as well, Luke Shanks has gone down to it as well. He's a guy for higher level I've trained with before. He's a good guy. And so he's maybe going to bring some of the guys for higher level down as well. So it's a great comp. Naga's my favourite comp. The way that they score it, they score on aggression and they score on submission attempts. So I've had some really good matches with black belts in Naga Europe when I've competed in that, and it's been like just back and forth, just both trying to submit each other constantly, and ending up like, you know, 6-5, 5-6, 6-5, 6-6, 7-6, 7-7, and you're both just like racking up points trying to finish each other.
Exciting
Mad
to watch that kind of
scrambles.
shit,
Aye,
like.
Yeah,
definitely.
man, for sure.
Whereas like I find in some of the other comps, a lot of time a guy will just get a takedown, they'll shut shop, you know, and they'll just like try and completely stall from, you know, then on out. But
I mean, I've run into that a few times with Naga as well. You know, just like, you know, I think the last time I competed with them, God, man, it's been a long time. It's probably been at least like 4 or 5 years since I've competed for Naga. But yeah, it's just like some stud wrestlers. That's all. That's all they
it
got.
does, yeah, it favours
Boom.
wrestlers, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Because they can get those takedowns. I was losing like 12-0 to a Russian boy one time. He just kept taking me down. He had boots on and everything. And with leg lock comp, I was like, whoa, this guy's crazy.
Oh yeah, man. It's like, I'm gonna toe hold you.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought, I'm going to fucking rip your ankle apart, man. But he was like, he ended up just, he took me down, kept backing off, let me back up, take me down, let me back up, take me down, and then eventually guillotined him with like a minute to go. But he was beating me like 12-0. I had scored 0 points on him.
Man, if I was that guy, I'd be so pissed.
Oh, I was gutted. He had the full
I'd be
Russian
like,
tracksuit.
Yeah, I'd have been so frustrated, man.
Yeah,
But
aye, that should be fun, man. So
yeah,
we'll let you all know how that goes next week for sure.
Absolutely,
But
yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. We're going to do a wee quick sort of recap or a preview on the UFC here. So we'll just do a few of the matches, the big matches coming up. I think it's next week. We've got Holloway
and Poirier.
and Poirier. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be cool, man. Who you got for that one?
I've got to go with Max Holloway.
I'm going Max Holloway.
You know, it's like Max is like every fight that he does, he's looking better and better.
He's a hard guy to bet against, man.
Yeah.
He's
Poirier's beat him before, hasn't he?
yeah,
Yeah.
he did.
But he is so much better than he was the last fight.
It's not even the same fighter at
Yeah.
all. You know?
I mean, but granted,
Poirier's better.
Yeah, Poirier is a lot better than he was last go as well.
Yeah.
But it'll be definitely a tough fight.
It'll be a cool fight because Poirier pretty much walks forward a lot of the time
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
He's really a pressure fighter, and so is Holloway.
Yeah.
He's a wee bit more elusive, but
Yeah.
he's a pressure fighter as well. So that's going to be. I don't see any way for that to be a bad fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only downside with that is like, I think Holloway's probably got a longer arm length than Poirier, so Poirier's going to be taking some shots as he's coming in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's going to be a cool one, man. But yeah, if I have to go with anybody, I'm going to go with Max Holloway.
yeah.
The next one, Kelvin Gastelum versus Adesanya.
Man, a lot of people are picking Israel, but I think Kevin Gastelum's going to beat him.
I think I get it done.
Yeah, I'm going with Gastelum as well. I think even though Israel was undefeated and stuff, I just feel like Kelvin's level of wrestling, and I think he's one of those guys that rises to the occasion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I mean, you saw that when he first fought Robert Whittaker and like
Yeah.
almost took it to him, man.
Yeah.
Like just he didn't fucking care who Robert Whittaker was, and just whoop,
Yeah.
just right there.
Yeah, he's talented,
So,
man.
yeah, man.
He goes for fucking everybody.
Yeah.
You know, he had a lot of fights like welterweight where he was underdog.
Yeah.
Well, remember he fought in the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and that was a similar guy, Israel Adesanya. That was what was his name again, man? Ultimate Fighter finale. It was I used to be so much better with fighter names.
Aye.
The guy.
Well, another Nigerian guy. Was it? That's Sadiq Youssef. No?
Nah, man. He fought the guy that everybody's saying he was going to be the next Anderson Silva. I can probably Google him pretty quick, man. But yeah, anyway, he fought him, and he was supposed to lose. You know, everybody was saying, no, he's going to lose. He was knocking out everybody in the Ultimate Fighter, and then Gastelum managed to get the win, just out wrestled him, and he was quite substantially smaller than him and stuff as well. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, man, Gastelum's always a tough fight for anyone.
Yeah,
you know, and he's another guy that kind of flies underneath the radar, but every fight he's always looking better.
Brings the pressure, every time. I don't know if there's any other. There's not really many other big fights. Eric Anders, Khalil Roundtree, that should be quite cool.
OSP's fighting.
Alan Jablan, he's a cool 10th Planet dude. He also models for like fucking Versace and shit. He models for like all the top sort of agencies. He's a really nice guy. He's good, man, but I think he's been on a bit of a slide lately. But I like the guy he's fighting, Curtis Melander. He's a really big dude. It's for California, I'm sure, quite raw, but he just seems to get the job done.
Yeah.
But aye. So there's the main ones picked anyway, but I don't know what the fuck they're doing with these interim titles, man. They need to...
And it's like, it's always so crazy, because I mean, even when Khabib fought for the interim titles, like he was fighting Ali Akinta, and it's like,
what he's doing?
Yeah, it's like, you know, Conor McGregor's the champion at the time, and then Tony Ferguson has the other interim champion. Doesn't fight either one of them, and is now the interim title holder.
They should just leave it out.
Right,
I think.
And it's like, I think beforehand, like, even if Al won, he still wouldn't have been champion.
Yeah.
I think they changed it at the end. But it was just like, but even like having that in the equation is like, what the fuck is the point?
Yeah,
I think they just try to use it as some sort of like marketing
advantage. It's the championship fight is bullshit. They were just being sneaky, I think, man.
I mean, to be fair, like, Khabib definitely deserves.
He was a champ anyway, you know.
Like, but him and Tony Ferguson is definitely the fight to have.
Yeah, but Ferguson's dangerous. As
Ferguson's
fuck.
a dangerous guy, but you know, we'll probably not see that for a while.
So he's going through some shit now as well.
Yeah, like some domestic violence shit. Right.
I don't even think it's so much of that. I think that's how they put it out quite bad at first. But what's actually happened is he's had a mental breakdown. And
I can see that. He's kind of a crazy guy.
Yeah, man. He was like, he thought his fridge was talking to him and shit like that.
Oh, fuck.
Holy shit.
It's quite. He thought like there was spying and stuff like that going on in his house, and he had just lost it a bit. But it was more like his wife was just concerned for him, like I think she woke up and he was screaming. That was like the reports. He was screaming at her, just like, you know, you're a witch and stuff like that. But he's had a mental lapse, and basically it's not been like he's not touched her or anything like that. He's just been going crazy in the house, and he's had to get help pretty much.
Has he always been like that? I've not followed his.
He's always been crazy.
Just thinking like with head trauma and shit like that, man. It always makes me think with fighters, you know.
I'm always a wee bit careful because he's actually Tony's really good friends with my friends Jeremy and stuff that's coming on in a couple of weeks. Like Jeremy helps him for all his camps and stuff like that. So I just from what I've been told, he just basically had a mental breakdown, and I think at first the press kind of put it quite bad, but then they've changed it up and they're now saying, you know, it's
that's good.
Yeah, it's actually that's not actually what's happening, because MMA media sometimes they're quick to just they're quick to just blast stuff out, you know, that's not even true.
Right, and it's just like things like that could just ruin your life, really, like ruin your whole complete career.
People think this or that about you, but
you know?
So it's always check the sources, guys. If you're ever reading MMA media, unless it comes from MMA fighting, I normally don't believe it, you know.
Plenty of that shit online, you know, Conor McGregor stuff and the tweets, and I'm sure you've seen that shit.
That's just so crazy, man. It's like,
I know, unless it's been proven in court, like let's fucking stay away from calling somebody a rapist, and also let's not disrespect people's religions as well.
It's like calling somebody's wife a towel.
Yeah, it's bad.
Know, it's like
it's bad shit.
Come on, man. Like,
from the both of them, it's bad. Man. Just a lore in it.
But I mean, I can kind of see Khabib's. I mean, like if someone called my wife a towel and insulted her like that,
you're probably gonna call
fuck you, man. The next time I'm gonna tear your head off of your shoulders.
It's gonna get even worse.
Yeah, it's like,
well, if that happens again, man, it's gonna be pretty high emotions.
I think Khabib's fuck him up again.
Unless he makes crazy differences.
It's got to, man, because I just can't see it for the last fight. You know what I mean? He's got to make huge improvements.
Conor's always got that one shot knockout power, but at the same time, the fight's always going to favour Khabib with the styles.
Absolutely.
And it's not like Khabib hid for him the last time as well. You know, in terms of standing, he stood with him, man. He
dropped him.
Did drop him.
Yeah.
But we can wrap it up at that, I think, anyway. And we've got Naga next week. We've got yeah, Jeremy Field is coming on, one of the
17th,
original
like you
10th
said,
Planet guys. That's going to be on Wednesday 17th, a week on Wednesday, but we'll still try and make next Sunday anyway. Hopefully we'll have some good stories for after Naga, but that'd be cool.
Yeah, we
Sweet.
would, man.
Nice one.
Cool.
Brilliant.
All right.
Perfect.
Nice one.
Thanks, Dylan. Thanks
Yeah,
for
no
coming
worries,
on,
man.
man.